Tonight, livestock scatter as a truck loses its load near Port Pirie, and details revealed about the new Balloak Bridge near Port Augusta.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. Severe weather has lashed the region today with dust storms wreaking havoc on highways. Gale force winds in excess of 90 kilometres an hour plunged the Yorke Peninsula into darkness, with more than 1,000 homes left without power.
Chaos on our highways as a thick blanket of dust clouds the road, reducing visibility to only a few metres. Wind gusts in excess of 90 kilometres an hour, whipping up dry topsoil, causing freak dust storms.
If the visibility becomes dangerous to you or other road users, that you find a safe place to pull off the road, as far off the road as possible, and wait there until the visibility is restored.
More than 1,000 properties plunged into darkness across the Yorke Peninsula mid-afternoon, with SA Power Networks forced to respond. To add insult to injury, Port Lincoln crews were kept busy after a power pole was brought down. It's understood a car sideswiped the tower. Workers battled the severe weather with strong northerly winds carrying the dust storm down towards the coast.
It also has the potential to pick up objects from your home and scatter them. So we ask people to tie down loose objects such as trampolines and outdoor furniture.
SA Health urging residents with cardiac and respiratory issues like asthma to stay inside if possible.
If people are concerned that their asthma is not well controlled, to go and see their GP or to go to hospital if it's quite bad and call an ambulance.
Climate experts say we're not out of the woods yet, with a cold front expected to roll across the region tonight, bringing with it severe thunderstorms and some rain.
So there may be some isolated heavy falls with those thunderstorms, as well as the potential to see some more gusty winds as the thunderstorms move through.
The South Australian Government issuing a statewide code blue ahead of tonight's severe weather. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A truck driver has had a lucky escape after the semi-trailer he was driving came off the shoulder of a main road south of Port Pirie this morning. The incident saw hundreds of pigs spill out onto the roads, leaving authorities with the task of having to euthanise many of the animals injured during the crash. Just a warning, this story may distress some viewers. Dominic Beaton was there.
At 8:30 this morning, emergency services were called to a rolled truck carrying livestock on Mondura Road. Many of the pigs aboard have been euthanized and the CFS has been busy rounding up a large number that have escaped. Authorities say the truck veered off the shoulder of the bitumen and into a ditch, where it stayed on its side. A large amount of the pigs ran into surrounding roadside scrub land. Around 250 pigs were being transported from a local piggery in Port Broughton south to Balaclava. The ordeal forced the closure of a section of road, while the large clean-up operation was underway. Local farmers pitching in to help police, SES and CFS volunteers move the remaining livestock up the road to safety in a neighbouring paddock. The driver was interviewed by roadside investigators at the scene, who will continue to investigate the cause of the crash. The driver has walked away from the incident with no serious injuries.
The Port Augusta Council has suspended community question time before council meetings after members of the public became aggressive at last week's meeting. The council alleged 2 residents hurled abuse towards elected members. It says the community forum will return in a revamped form, but it's unclear when that will happen.
And the suspension is looking at how we can do this better and perform well for the community.
The Ratepayers Association has criticised the move, saying it's unfair the community is paying a price for the behaviour of a few. Parents with children at the Whyalla Childcare Centre may be forced to pay extra in fees due to a new business model from the local council. The council says it is aiming to ensure a sustainable future for the centre. The plan is said to relieve Whyalla ratepayers, though, of up to $260,000 a year.
Use as much government subsidy funding to maximise the ratios that are involved so that we can get the best outcomes for the parents but also the community.
Council says it's also planning to employ a consultant firm to assist with the transition. Police are urging residents to take care in how they store jewellery and valuables after a spate of break-ins. Port Lincoln Police are currently investigating the break-in of a Pancala Avenue home last week. It's alleged thieves made off with numerous items, including jewellery, cash and computers. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. The Department for Transport and Infrastructure has released a video online giving a glimpse into the design of the upgraded Joy-Baluke Bridge in Port Augusta. The Mayor says he's pleased to see improved access for pedestrians.
Transforming the Joy-Baluke Bridge from this to this. A new insight into the $200 million project showing a 4-lane east-west corridor.
It's going to basically open up for freer traffic to flow.
But for the local mayor, that's not the most exciting part.
The walkway and the thoroughfare for our pedestrians is going to come in and out of that town is fantastic. It'll be great for tourism.
Paths and cycleways are planned in both directions of the bridge, a far cry from the current pedestrian walkway, with road trains, trucks and caravans dashing past only metres away.
The pedestrian safety is a must, and not only that, for our disabled people as well, with the mopeds and so forth.
The business community anticipating the project will bring huge economic benefits to Port Augusta.
The construction side of it is going to bring a lot of people to town. It's not a small project, so, inevitably it's going to be people here for quite some time.
We need to be prepared for that influx, not only for accommodation but for meals, hotels and so forth, so Port Augusta, prepare yourself.
The project is due to begin early next year. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Freaky Friday to hit Port Pirie, and Broken Hill businesses reap the rewards of its annual festival. Welcome back. Port Pirie's Youth Theatre is gearing up for the annual performance at the Keith Mitchell Centre. Local young budding actors are set to light up the stage with Freaky Friday the musical.
Bringing song and dance to the live stage. Port Pirie's youngest actors and biggest theatre aficionados are gearing up for their performance of Freaky Friday.
Ellie, have they the same clothes you wore yesterday? Maybe.
The show, an adaptation of the popular movie made in the 2000s.
It's, about a mother and a daughter who really aren't seeing very eye to eye, but through a series of events find that they have actually switched bodies in this, crazy day.
Lucy Duffield, starring as Catherine Blake, says she's excited to bring her character to life on stage.
So the character I play is Catherine Blake. So in the beginning she is the mother of Ellie Blake and she is a strict businesswoman.
Co-lead actor Brianna Pisani has spent months perfecting the angsty energy of Ellie Blake.
My character's Ellie Blake. She's a stubborn teenager, doesn't really listen to her mum much, thinks everything's overrated.
Both girls drawing inspiration from their own family lives.
My own mum is a bit of a stress head, so I can correlate with her stress and characterise that on stage.
It's the opportunity to grow their artistic skills, but also their personal skills. They have to be persistent.
The show kicks off this Freaky Friday at 7:30. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Broken Hill Festival's increasing popularity has been felt strongly from local businesses. As the Silver City winds down from the glamorous event, local eateries and hotels are counting the profits.
After 3 days of Priscilla, the numbers are in.
3,750 in total, people just coming to the ticketed events.
It's these numbers that have given the local economy a shot in the arm. Silver City Cafe put more staff on Saturday to cope with the demand. The street parade saw customers flocking in, creating a welcome 4 days worth of business in just one.
A lot more cakes to cook, a lot more things to have ready, and mentally, you have to be ready mentally. It is crazy.
At the Silly Goat, staff put in extra preparations in the lead up to the festival and it paid off. The cafe was at capacity across the weekend.
We had a really, really busy Friday and Monday, which is much more than what we would usually, and we did it with the same amount of staff, so we're really impressed with that.
The city was entirely booked out when it came to accommodation, with locals encouraged to offer any spare rooms on Airbnb. Some wanting to book a room at the Palace have been waiting for 2 years. Elsewhere, future festival goers are getting in early.
As soon as the dates were announced, we had bookings, so we're about half booked out now.
350 early bird tickets are available for next year's festival, but with over 200 already sold, organisers say it's better to book now than later.
For those people that missed out, it's really their chance to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A Whyalla musician will soon be walking the red carpet after being nominated for the 2019 Australian Women in Music Humanitarian Award. Alison Hams says she hopes the title will give Whyalla national recognition.
Alison Hams has made a significant contribution to music education, the Whyalla local among those recognised in national awards.
A press release from the AWMA came through and I was just scrolling through the finalists and I had to do a double take because my name was in there amongst them.
Striking a chord on the big stage. Alison will be competing against industry names.
Other 2 finalists are amazing legends of music, Lindy Morrison OAM from the Go-Betweens and Australian Eurovision superstar Dami M.
She runs Stormfront Productions with her partner. They offer music tuitions, audio and visual recording in this studio.
We'll do workshops, which takes us out into the regions. We've even taught music in prisons.
He absolutely works the hardest of any person I've ever seen. The hours that she keeps and the dedication she shows is unbelievable.
The pair is calling for more regional music support, hoping this nomination will further secure Whyalla on the musical map.
We'd love to see from this profile that this award is generating already, we'd love to see some local and state support come on board.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Country Arts SA CEO Steve Saffel has announced he will be stepping down in December this year. After 26 years with the organisation, Mr Saffel's retirement comes at a time when the company is undertaking a major restructure. Staff in Whyalla and Port Pirie will be reapplying for their positions and up to 4 jobs statewide will be axed. He says his focus will now be on his family. Stay with us after the break. A look at Broken Hill's new tennis academy and we'll have the weather with Britt. Hello again. A Broken Hill tennis player has set up an academy to help train juniors in the sport. The Outback Tennis Academy is holding an open day this weekend, encouraging children and their parents to pick up a racket.
From starting out as a junior to playing in the veterans, it's a sport for all ages.
My belief is tennis today is tennis for life. Really instills some skills in the children to give them something they can carry forward for the rest of their life.
The Outback Tennis Academy will be launching a range of different coaching programs starting next school term, from kids as young as 2 years old all the way to offering sessions with adults just getting back into the game.
We do a lot of fun games when we're playing, but probably my favourite bit is when we get to warm up.
Russell says tennis is a sport of many benefits, including fostering hand-eye coordination for children, aerobic fitness, and it's a fun social activity.
It's a sport that anywhere you go, if you can play tennis, you meet into the community straight away.
The Academy is hosting an open day on Sunday morning, the invitation out to all families to come have a swing.
And it's nice that we can take from 2-year-olds to a lady I coached a few days ago who's 67. And there's a lady playing here who's 87 years of age.
For more information, visit the Outback Tennis Academy Facebook page. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Now let's hear from the experts with this week's Fish and Tips.
As we said in the last week's report, there's a few crabs hanging around. The deep gutter by Checker Boy and all that sort of stuff, they're still producing some nice crabs, but do have a try when you're chasing from some small snapper on the wrecks just around the creeks. You should find yourself some beautiful clean crabs there as well. But don't forget, we're coming very close to this warmer season. You'll see your last chance of King George whiting, but do yourself a favour, run into the shallows, chase up by the mangroves, look for those little black holes, and I think you might find some yellowfin whiting.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fish and Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. The warm days, that's bringing the crabs out. They're getting a little bit shallower now and in better numbers. There are still some King George whiting, but try a little bit further south, sort of down around the bottom end of the Flinders Channel. Even as far down as Yatla if you can get down there as well with a nice day. Some salmon up and around the creeks and also some good catches of snook being caught as well around the middle banks. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Whalers fishing report this week. The whiting have been a little bit more sporadic down towards the Mount Young and Cowlitz landing grounds. A lot of smaller fish starting to move in those areas with the warmer water coming through. There still has been some nice sized fish up around the Ward Spit area, both on the northern end and the southern end. Around the Point Lowly Rocks and the Black Point coastline have been some great sized salmon, so get down there and get amongst those.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We're here in the bay in Port Lincoln. There's been some garfish out around Billy Lights, and they've been good sized gar as well. North Shields, there's been some yellowfin whiting along the beach up there. Moving over to Coffin Bay, within the bay system there's been quite a few salmon trout around the Brothers Islands, and then out around Farm Beach. There have been some whiting, but crews have been shifting around a bit to find some better fish, but there are some nice garfish and some tommies in that area as well. That's all for this week. We'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
And for a look at the weather for the rest of the week, here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. It's been a hot and windy day about much of the region. Port Augusta reaching 34 degrees today, Whyalla and Port Pirie 33, Adelaide 30, Broken Hill 29, Port Lincoln 27. From the satellite, we can see high cloud increasing ahead of a low pressure trough and associated cold front. But let's move on to tomorrow, starting with the Gulf waters. Westerly winds tending southwesterly at 15 to 20 knots, with seas at 2.5 metres. And the sun will rise just before 6:15. It's still looking to be hot and dry at Broken Hill tomorrow, with an expected top of 32. Elsewhere, we can expect a fairly wet and dreary day, with showers and rain forecast across the region. Port Pirie 19, Port Augusta and Corn 18, Whyalla 17, Port Lincoln, Woodner, Kadina and Adelaide 16, Clare and Cleve both 15, Coffin Bay a top of 13 degrees. Taking a look ahead at the weekend, showers expected at Port Lincoln both Saturday and Sunday. Cleve and Woodner both with a fine and partly cloudy start to the weekend, ahead of showers on Sunday. Whyalla and Port Augusta both looking mostly sunny across the weekend. Showers expected at Kadina on Sunday. Port Pirie with a fine start to the weekend, showers on Sunday, Clare looking wet across the weekend, Broken Hill remaining dry with fine and partly cloudy days ahead. And Louise, that's the forecast. Back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Britt. And that's your local news this Thursday evening. Thank you for joining us today. We'll have updates later as always, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.